Semyon Der-Arguchintsev and Dmitry Ovchinnikov are. As we approach the draft and as we approach NHL free agency, there's been some news on some interesting Maple Leafs prospects. Semyon Der-Arguchintsev has spent the better part of 3 seasons with the Toronto Marlies, while Dmitry Ovchinnikov has spent only around 12 games with the team in the last 2 seasons. Ovchinnikov, who was drafted in the 5th round of the 2020 NHL draft, has spent a little bit of time more in the KHL than rather coming over to North America and spending some time here. But as we know with Der-Arguchintsev, he was drafted in the 3rd round of the 2018 NHL draft, spent some time with the Peterborough Petes alongside Nick Robertson, and has played a lot of games thus far in the AHL. Der-Arguchintsev's deal with the Maple Leafs expires this season, and Dmitry Ovchinnikov still has 1 more year on his deal in Toronto. But why am I telling you this? Well, there has been some interesting things that have gone on in the last day or so with these 2 players. Let's begin with Der-Arguchintsev, who has an expiring deal with the Maple Leafs. He has been an interesting prospect with the Maple Leafs the last 2 years. Again, he's spent time with the Marlies, and he's put up a fair amount of points throughout those years. As you can see, during the 2021-22 season, he had 32 points in 51 games, and in the 2022-23 season, he had 40 points in 50 games with the Marlies, while also having 3 points in 5 games during the playoffs this past year. Now, Der-Arguchintsev has always been an interesting player. He got called up to the Maple Leafs this year in what was, to me, it seemed like a sort of we're not forgetting about you type of deal. He has a lot of skill when it comes to having the puck. He's very good. He's a playmaker. He's very good at finding players when you might not think a pass is even there. There's a lot of good things about him. He's getting stronger on the puck. He has a better shot. There's a lot of things that he's worked on throughout the last few seasons with the Marlies that's made him into a better and better player, and you could see that with the points. But I think the biggest question that everyone has is whether or not he would be a full-time NHLer with the Maple Leafs, and I think that this year could be the best opportunity if he was to stay in Toronto. But like I said, his deal's expiring, so why would he return to Toronto? Well, his agent put something out on Twitter the other day that made it seem like there's still an opportunity for him to return and re-sign with the Maple Leafs. I'm going to butcher this name completely, but from Shumi Babiev, Semyon Der-Arguchintsev has several proposals from Russian clubs, but he won't play for Torpedo, which currently holds his rights in KHL. If the situation remains the same, the 22-year-old forward will sign a new contract with the Toronto Maple Leafs. Now, this is interesting news because there was a report that he was going to return to Torpedo maybe a month ago, but now it looks like he's not going to return there, and if he doesn't get a good enough deal from any club, I believe, in the KHL, it likely looks like he'll return to Toronto in some shape or form. But again, that begs the question of, will he be an NHLer? Is there any chance of him being an NHLer? I think with Der-Arguchintsev, there is, at least for me, I'm still holding out a little bit of, I'd say, hope for that. You know, he's worked a lot and he's improved a lot on a lot of things that really when he joined the Toronto Marlies, he didn't have. Again, his shot, his strength, his ability to be strong on the puck. And again, the one thing I think that falters him a little bit is his play in the defensive zone. And at the end of the day, he is, he's a natural center, and sometimes you need that defensive structure. And when you go to the NHL, it's a lot more if you get beat and if you get really exposed on the defensive end, a lot of teams can capitalize on that. And for Semyon Der-Arguchintsev to really be an NHLer, I think the defensive part of his game really needs to get stronger and stronger to allow him to really, you know, when something happens in the defensive zone in the NHL, he's able to be there and able to really react to it as fast as possible. But if he does re-sign in Toronto this season, I think it will be the biggest year of his career, potentially. I think you look at his points the last year, he almost put up a point per game. He was 10 points off of that. You look at his playoff performance, it wasn't the best, but it also wasn't horrible either. You know, with experience, he's going to grow more confident, and he's going to have a possibly breakout season this year, in my opinion. So I think if Toronto gets him back over here in Toronto with the Marlies to really have that start of the season and really, you know, progress in all of those things that he's already built, as well as his defense, he could go a long way. It's always possible that he could end up with the Maple Leafs at one point or another during next season. You might not know this, but with the Marlies, he did suffer a few injuries this past season that really, I think, to me, set back a little bit of, you know, his play, his performance, his consistency, and I think if he comes into this season very healthy and really ready to go, I think there's a lot of positivity towards coming in and being a guy on the Marlies who can be relied upon, and possibly maybe a bottom six role in the NHL could be in his future. Now, the other prospect in this video is Dmitry Ovchinnikov, and if you don't know a lot about him, he's very smart with the puck. He's a very quick player on the ice. He's a good skater. He can really get up the ice really fast. He's an interesting prospect to me because I think there's a little bit of NHL potential there. It's just a matter of if he can put all of those tools together to get there. I think Ovchinnikov could be an interesting player to watch out for this season if he is going to be with the Marlies, and it seems like it's trending in that direction. From Shumi Babiev, once again, the term of Dmitry Ovchinnikov's loan with Sibir has expired. Toronto management told the player that he will spend next year in North America. Ovchinnikov has 1 year left on his current contract with the Maple Leafs. Now, last season he had 13 points in 68 games in the KHL. Again, it's not the best. It's a difficult league, and he's going to come over to Toronto this year, and the good and most positive thing about having Ovchinnikov in North America is that he will be here for a full season. There won't be anything hindering that. He is going to be here, and he knows he's going to be in North America for a full season. The last 2 years, he's come after the KHL season has ended, and it's really been tough for him to find his footing. He's going to come into a new room, you think about it, and he's not going to know a lot of players. There aren't really many players on the Marlies who speak Russian, so it was a little bit difficult for him to really find his footing at the AHL level. But this year, it could be something different. We could see him unlock some new things in North America, unlock some new tools, and play full-time and, really get some experience here. And that's a really positive thing for the Maple Leafs, for the Marlies, and for Ovchinnikov himself. I wouldn't say Ovchinnikov is as close to the NHL as SDA is, but there is, again, a lot of positive things with him coming and spending a full year in Toronto, and that's going to be good, again, for everyone involved. One of the fun things about doing these videos and making videos about prospects who are at the AHL level and could possibly get to the NHL and spend time there is, looking back at these videos a few months down the road and seeing if I was right. I believe when I made a video about Bobby McMahon and Curtis Douglas, I think maybe a year and a half ago, I really predicted that those two guys would get contracts, and they did. So, and then there's a few other players that I believe I made videos on, but it's really cool to look back on these videos and see who comes about and who becomes something at the NHL level and who doesn't. So this will be a fun video to look back on in the next few months to see really whether or not Ovchinnikov and SDA made their mark at the AHL level, or if it's going to continue to be tough for them in North America. We will see in a few months, or possibly by the end of this year. So that is going to be it for this video, though. I want to thank you all so much for watching. If you did enjoy the video, make sure to leave a like. If you really enjoyed it, subscribe. And if you are already subscribed and you haven't hit the bell so you get a notification for every time I upload. I want to thank you all so much for all the support on the recent videos. It means a lot. And yeah, let me know what other videos you'd like to see. Comment down below if you'd like to see more Leafs news, more Marlies stuff, combine it all, or whatever you want to see, more NHL stuff as well. Let me know in the comment section down below. But that is it for me. Thank you so much for watching. We'll see you in the next video.